Hi, in this video we'll be discussing GMAT Official Guide 2017 edition Quant Problem Solving question number 205. Let's have a look at this question. Look at this question. This question is made up of almost 5 to 6 lines. So let's try to solve this question in parts. So there are 60, right? Photography dealer ordered 60 Model X cameras to be sold for $250. There are 60 cameras, okay, and each sold for $250. Each for $250, okay. Then you have which represents a 20% markup over the dealer's initial cost for each camera. Say initial cost for each camera is say X, right? The question says this $250 is nothing but 20% markup over the initial cost. So 20% markup means 20 by 100 over X, right? X plus 20% of X. This is equal into $250. That's what the question says. Now this is nothing but 1.2 times of X, which is equal to 250. So that is X is equal to 250 by 1.2. That is the initial cost is 250 by 1.2. The next line says of the cameras ordered, 6 were never sold and were returned for the manufacturer for a refund of 50% of the dealer's initial cost. Not all the 60 cameras they are selling only out of 60, 54 they are selling for 250. The remaining 6 were not sold. But it's not that they have not got any money for that. They have got 50% of the initial cost. For all these 6, they are getting 50%, which is 1 by 100. 50 by 100 is 1 by 2 of the initial cost. Initial cost is 250 by 1.2. So that is for the 54 cameras, you are getting the total cost as 54 into 250 because each sell for $250. And for the remaining 6 cameras, it is not that they are selling, right? They are getting the refund as at least half of the initial cost for the 6 cameras, right? Now the question is about what was the dealer's approximate profit or loss as a percentage for a dealer's initial cost for the 60 cameras. The question is asking you to find profit and loss percentage. Profit and loss percentage is nothing but SP, that is selling price minus the initial price, which is the cost price, over the cost price, right? The actual value should be cost price into 100. This formula is nothing but percentage change is always equal to the formula, right? Percentage change formula is difference in the values into divided by actual value into 100. Here the actual value is the initial cost and the difference in the selling and the cost incurred should be the selling price minus the cost price, right? Should be in the numerator. Into 100 will get you the percentage of profit or loss. If the value is negative, then it is a loss. If the difference is positive, then it is a profit, right? If the difference in the SP and the selling price and the cost price, if it is negative, then it is a loss. If it is the difference is positive, then it is a profit, right? We shall try to substitute all these values in this expression and try to figure out the answer. So keep it simple. Don't try to convert this fraction and all, right? They have given 250 by 1.2. Don't try to convert this back to an a decimal value. Keep it as it is by 250 by 1.2. Keep it simple, right? Probably we could eliminate some common terms in numerator and denominator while we are substituting in this expression, right? Just substitute all those values in that percentage change formula, that is difference divided by actual value into 100. Here in this case, right, selling price. Here not everything is a selling price, right? He is selling 54 cameras for $250, but the remaining 6 cameras is getting a refund of 50%, which is half of, right, the initial cost, right? Dealer's initial cost is 250 by 1.2. So he is getting a 250 by 1.2 for each and every remaining 6 cameras and 50% of it, right? So 6 into half into 250 by 1.2 is the total money he will get, total revenue, right? So from the total revenue, there is a cost for initial cost, right? So total revenue minus the initial cost, which is the cost price divided by, right, from the actual value is the cost price, right? Total cost price into 100. Just substitute that. Since initial cost is 250, there are 60 cameras, so that means cost price would be, the denominator would be 60 into 250 by 1.2, whereas the numerator is this minus the cost price, right? 54 into 250 plus 6 into half is 3 into 250 by 1.2 minus 60 into 250 by 1.2, right, into 100. If you are smart, you can notice that, right? All the numerator and the denominator has 250, so we can take 250 out common, we can cancel this off. So in that case, we will have in the numerator 54 plus 3 by 1.2 minus 250, right? 250 got eliminated, so that means 60 by 1.2 divided by, in the denominator, 60 by 1.2 into 100. Now if you look at it, right, again 1.2 and the 1.2 in the numerator as well as the denominator we have, just that we need to cross multiply 54 into 12, right? 54 into 12 is you will have is 8, then 10, 4, 5, so that means 648, right? 64.8 would be the 54 into 1.2. So if you take the LCM in the numerator, so you will have is 64.8 plus 3 minus 60 divided by 1.2. Since 60 by 1.2 in the denominator and you take it to the numerator, it will become reciprocal. So 1.2 by 60 into 100. What the value will have? 1.2 we can strike off. So 64 plus 64.8 plus 3, 67.8 minus 60 will get you 7.8 divided by 60 into 100. So which is nothing but here 780 by 60, which is nothing but 780 by 60. 78 by 6 is 13%, right? 13, right? So 13, this is a percentage, so that means 13 percentage would be the profit, because the difference, if it is positive, then it is a profit. So that means here we got the positive value, right? 67.8 minus 60, so that means it's a positive, means it's a profit. So profit percentage of 13 would be the answer, right? 13 percentage profit. So answer option has to be here D. So keep it simple, right? So you might find it little bit, little bit panicked in the exam during, right? When you say, when you get 250 by 1.2, do I need to convert all these? All these will go through your, right? All this will be going through your mind. But keep it simple. Don't do all these calculations, right? GMAT is very smart. They are not going to give you a number which has, a so complicated decimal value, right? If they are giving so, then there will be some link in the question which you just need to make sure that you use it, right? So if you substitute all these values in that expression, you can see that not necessary that we need to figure out really 250 by 1.2, right? So keep it simple. Answer has to be here D. But if you feel like I'm good at calculation 250 1.2, I will do it, right? I can do multiplication of 6 into 250 into 1.2, and I can also do the calculation of 60 into 250 into 1.2. Then probably you can go ahead and do it. It's nothing wrong, right? Just that to avoid calculation, we need to be we need to keep things simple. Otherwise, here if you notice 60 into 1.2, right? 12 is divisible, right? 12 5s are 60. You can write it as, right? 50 into 250 you can do. But this is what little bit ugly, right? 3 into 250 1.2 is little bit ugly. That's where you need to do little bit more calculation, right? So still, right, you can do the calculation part here itself, or if you want to be smart, you can eliminate the numerator and the denominator common terms like this, right? It's up to you. Is there any better way to solve this? Yes, there is much more easiest way to solve it, right? Whenever the question gives you 60, whenever the question has something like a bigger number, $60, $250, you can always relate this with a smaller number, and let's see what could be the answer as, right? We can relate this the bigger numbers to a smaller number. Then if a smaller number gives you a value, that should be the same resultant for a bigger number as well, right? Because it's a percentage or a ratio question, right? The same thing would be for this also, right? So that's how it has to be. You can compare that. You can be little bit smart. You can do some reasoning as well. So we shall see that little later how to do that reasoning, right? Hope this is clear. Answer has to be here D. Thank you. Let's see what would be the easiest way of solving this question. Easiest way of solving this question would be using the concept of ratios. What is the concept of ratio? There are 60 cameras here, but not all the 60 cameras are sold, right? Out of the 60 cameras, 6 were never sold. So that means 54 cameras are sold and 6 cameras not sold. Sold, not sold. This is 54 and 6 in the ratio of 9:1. That is, for 60 cameras, if the ratio is 54:6, then 9 plus 1 it is 10. Then for 10 cameras, 9 cameras will be sold and not sold will be 1. Correct? That is 9:1 ratio. So whenever you get the ratios, right, it's an integer here, 9 and 1, and you get a ratio like this. For if 60 cameras, if the profit is some 50% or some 20%, then for 10 cameras the profit is also going to be the same. It's not going to change, right? Say say if 2 pens cost you 40 rupees, and the profit percentage is some say 20%, okay, then for 4 pens, right, which cost say 80 rupees, the profit percentage is going to be still same thing, 20%. This is not going to change at all because it's ratios, right? It's a ratio thing, so it's not going to change. So in that case, right, if 9 cameras were sold and 1 camera is not sold, say suppose the initial cost of the camera say 100, we can keep it as 100 because, right, it's a percentage question. Let's take the initial cost as 100. Then they are saying 20% markup over the initial cost, they are selling the camera. So that means 20% of markup means 100 plus 20% of 100, which is nothing but 120. 120 would be the selling price. If 120 is the selling price, then 9 cameras were sold for 120 and 1 camera is sold for, not sold, returned to the manufacturer for a 50% refund. That is 1 into half into the initial cost is 100, right? 50% is half of 100. So that means 9 into 12 will get you 1080, right? And this will get you 50. Total revenue you will get is 1130, right? 1130 would be the total revenue. And the total cost, right? Total initial cost you would have incurred is each is 100. So that means there are 10 cameras. So 100 into 10, that will get you $1,000, right? So in that case, profit is 1130 minus 1000, correct? Which is the profit. So to find the profit percentage, right? To find the profit percentage, 1130 minus 1000 is 130. So denominator profit percentage means difference divided by actual value, which is the cost price here. Actual value is the initial cost, right? Which is 1000 into 100. That's all, right? 2 zeros get cancelled. This 0 and this 0 get cancelled. So that means 13% profit. That's it. If the difference is positive, then it is a profit. So 1130 minus 1000, the difference is of course positive. So 13% profit. Eliminate all the other answer choices. So keep it simple whenever you see this type of questions, right? Here actually we are lucky because we got the ratio here as 9:1, right? If we haven't got the ratio here as 9:1, then there would be a small trouble. We need to do all the calculation part which we did earlier, right? Probably, right, try to if you look at it, the normal way was 120% of x, right? 120% of x is 250. X initial cost is 250 by 1.2. Try not converting that to a fraction, keep it as it is, because we can eliminate when you substitute in the percentage change formula. You can eliminate some common values in the numerator and the denominator. You can be smart that way. Or if you are able to figure this part, right, when you are solving the question, right, even in the actual GMAT, if you are able to figure that ratio concept, then probably this would help you to solve the question in less than say 90 seconds, right? Otherwise, even the normal way will not take you more than 2.5 minutes. That is more than 150 seconds. It won't take you to do the calculation, right? Hope this is clear. Answer has to be here D. Thank you.